Let's talk about the plastics here. So we've got a hole in the plastics here, which I can live with that. What I don't think I can live with is there's just a piece missing completely here. The plastics on this Bayou are hard to find and they're pretty expensive. So I'm going to attempt to repair this on my own and see if I can reuse these. So there's a couple of things. This is the front fender section. There's a couple of things I want to address. First one should be a pretty simple fix, but we've just got a little crack here. So I will get out my soldering iron and do a little bit of plastic welding to get that cleaned up. But the biggest issue with this right now is this whole ear that wraps around. You can see the other side that wraps around is completely missing. So I need to figure out how I'm going to replace this. So I think what I'll do is get a piece of plastic. I'll probably cut this clean and see if I can build out that piece with some plastic. And it just so happens I've got a paint pail here, and surprisingly the color is pretty close to this right now. So I'm going to try my hand at using this pail to fix this. Let's start by cutting out a chunk of this bucket bigger than what we really need. So we've got our material. Now I need to flatten this thing out. I think what I'll do is warm it up and then put something heavy on it and just let it cool and see if that does it. It's better. So we got this piece flattened out for the most part. Still got a little bit of curve to it, but so does the sides of this. So I think that'll work fine. Let's just look at the color match. Not too bad, it's a little dark. Next, I need to figure out how to form this into the shape I need. And I'm going to start by looking at the other side. Fortunately, the other side is still intact. So I just need a mirror image of this over on this side, and I can at least make this part of the shape and then figure out what I'm going to do about this. This piece needs a lot more strength because that's what mounts it. So I'll think about that when I get to it. I'm going to start by making this shape. That's the shape I want. I transferred that paper onto cardboard and reversed it. So now we've got something to work with here. And what I want to do now is transfer this onto the plastic. Now I squared up 2 edges, so this lines up nice. And now we're just going to mark this so I know where to cut. This ought to cut pretty easy with just a straight edge and a sharp knife. I'll just have to make multiple passes. Alright, that's a good start. Okay, next thing I want to do is get a bend in here. And I got to have the right angle. So I used my angle finder. I captured the other side. And this is going to be flexible, but I at least want to get it close to the angle I need. So I'm going to use this to kind of keep track. And I'm just going to heat this edge up and push it down and see if that works. Quite a ways to go. Okay, I've got this piece bent, and I think it's pretty close. The other thing I did was cut a little notch out of this because I want to tuck it in behind this piece, and this piece has got a little lip there, so I'm going to have it notched out so I can sit down underneath that and then bring this part up to the level it needs to be. So we are going to be attached something like that. So I'll end up using some large head rivets here, and maybe I can get a little gray paint and cover those a little bit. So I've got this piece lined up. I took a measurement on the other side from here to here so I could get this positioned. And I've got it clamped in place, so I'm going to put a couple rivets in here to begin with, just to lock it in. Alright, that's enough rivets to hold it. I need to track down a little bit of gray paint and touch those up just so they're not so obvious. So we've recreated this portion of the plastic that's missing. The next thing I need to do is build this out, this mount point. And I've got this piece of metal. I saved it when I threw away an old wash tub. And again, why throw away something like this when you know you're going to need it someday? Today's that day. So I'm going to cut this up, bend it up. I may have to weld a little bit of a piece on there just to give it a little bit of strength. And then I'll rivet it into this as well. So here's what I came up with for this bracket, or this mounting bracket. So I've taken a piece of metal here, bent it to shape, and that will get riveted right into this piece. And then I will weld in this gusset right here, because if I just did this piece, all that's really holding it would be this little corner, and this isn't all that strong. So what I can do here is basically have all of the strength in the bracket itself and then rivet that to the plastic. And then just for good measure, I'll weld in one more piece over on this edge. And that'll give us a good strong bracket to mount this to the ATV. Okay, there's the bracket, welded up and painted, and the welds are ugly, really ugly. Doesn't matter, it'll still work. All right, there it is attached. So everything's lined up pretty well. At a glance, it looks a little better. Let's throw the seat on. How about that? I can live with that. Now I just have to do a few more fasteners and put everything back together. All right, there's everything back together. And if you're observant, you're going to notice this is actually not the same ATV that I had in the last shot. This was actually a parts machine. So I moved this front fender over onto this machine. But it looks pretty good. That's going to work out just fine. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.